Okay, let's go ahead and continue talking about community ecology and looking at some more of these relationships that exist within communities. Yeah, we talked about predator-prey. Predators kill the prey, prey try to survive, prey have defense mechanisms, all different ways that they survive. We'll be revisiting this conversation when we think about the evolution topic, because both species, predator and prey, have to continuously adapt and change in order to survive. Over time, they're both going to evolve. If one evolves and the other one doesn't, the other one will go extinct. So it's all connected. But relationships. Parasitism. Here's another relationship. So you look at all those little spots, all those little dots, all those little brownish, grayish things. You got one there, one there, one there. Just they're everywhere. These are fleas. Think about fleas. Fleas have a parasitic lifestyle, or they're parasites. In this relationship, the parasite gains and the host loses. So the parasite, when they gain, they often gain food, shelter, reproductive opportunities. And the host loses some health and sometimes reproductive opportunities. Typically, the parasite doesn't kill the host. Okay? Most parasites, fleas, ticks, tapeworms, etc., their goal is not to kill the host. If you kill the host, then you have to find a completely brand new host, and that's a problem. So they're just trying to steal nutrients. Maybe fleas have a place to live. They can then reproduce. But they don't want to kill that dog or that cat or that person that they're on. They're just simply trying to gain nutrients. So what I want you to think about, in the world of nature, the vast majority of parasites do not have backbones. So let that sink in. Fleas, ticks, tapeworms, roundworms, ringworm, go through that list and go, man, how many of these things as a species have a backbone? Very few. I'm going to show you an example of one, and I want you guys to think of other examples. Okay, so the kangaroo. This is a little catfish, South American catfish. It only grows a couple centimeters in length, but like all catfish, it has those little fins coming out and the little barbs going that way, and then a fin on the back there. There's another one back there. Okay, so this catfish lives in freshwater streams and rivers of South America, and it's attracted to specific amino acids produced in urine. Now, the natural host for this kangaroo is often fish. Fish produce urea. Fish produce that amino acid. Kangaroo smells it in the water, detects the chemicals, swims towards it, parasitizes it. But when people go into the water in South America and they pee, then we excrete the same amino acid, and that causes the catfish to swim towards us. And the catfish swims towards us and swims up the urethra. Both male and female are susceptible to this. Now the challenge is, once it gets up into the urethra, or all the way into the bladder, it flips those little fins out and lodges itself in. So the fins anchor it within your bladder or within your urethra. So the catfish is not trying to kill you, but obviously extremely discomforting and unpleasant. It's just gnawing away, getting a little bit of a meal, and it's parasitizing you. They're not trying to kill you. They're not trying to kill the host. Okay, so an example of in which the host is killed is a thing called a parasitoid. Now, parasitoids use the host to raise their young. the host is killed. And the host gets killed in order to feed, or we say brood, the young to raise their young. Okay, so let me show you the example here. I mean, the picture shows you a wasp attacking a caterpillar. What the wasp is going to do is inject its eggs into the caterpillar, and then those eggs are going to grow and develop. So here's an example, a little video I found for you guys, in which we have a parasitoid wasp that is attacking a cockroach. So it goes after a cockroach. Cockroach is obviously significantly bigger, but it stings it. And the toxin, the venom produced by the wasp, basically scrambles a cockroach's neurological system. So now the wasp can lead it around, tells a cockroach, come on, follow me, come this way. You're going to come back to my den, to my nest, and I'm going to use you. Cockroach can't resist. Its brain is scrambled because of the venom of the wasp. And it's pretty specific. That wasp will parasitoid cockroaches. That can be a good thing. Now, it's in the nest, and the wasp has just injected its eggs into the living cockroach. Mama wasp leaves. She goes about her day, does her thing, never comes back. She's going to entomb the cockroach so it doesn't wander away, kind of trap it in there. But check it out. Those little white things, those are eggs developing into larvae. That little worm-like thing, that is the larva of the wasp that is eating the internal organs of the living cockroach. At a certain point, obviously, the cockroach is dead. But you've hatched out a bunch of new wasps that then go out and act as parasitoids to other cockroaches. So in nature, this is actually an awesome biological control mechanism. We can use wasps to parasitize pests that raid crops that we don't like. Think about those Japanese beetles all over Illinois that are destroying how many plants. Do they have a parasitoid species associated with them? If so, we would want to encourage the parasitoid species. But it's got to be a native species that would parasitoid the Japanese beetle. And that's the problem. Japanese beetles are invasive. They don't have natural parasitoids or predators or etc. here in the United States. So think about that relationship. Scary, crazy, creepy, kind of interesting. Think about the series Aliens, all the different alien movies. How did those aliens work? They were parasitoids to humans. They used humans as the host to raise the young through one stage of development, and then the host got killed. So a lot of your best science fiction films are often based on what really is happening in nature. Now, obviously, there's some tweaks and twists and turns, but what's out there in nature is amazing. Okay, so one other type of parasitism is what we call brood parasitism. This is when you have another species raising your young. So right here, oh, can't see it that well. That bird there is mom. Mom's a little one. That doesn't look right. And the big one here, this is the baby. That's not mom's baby. That's another bird's baby. That is a cowbird baby. The egg of the cowbird got laid into the nest of that sparrow. And now the sparrow's taking care of it. So in nest parasitism, so cuckoo is another example. The parasite uses another species to raise their young. Often the host species does not have any offspring that generation. So what you're watching here, looking at, is a cuckoo baby. That's that little bird there without any feathers. Looks kind of sickly, but that's what they look like before they get their feathers. It is actually pushing the eggs out of the nest from the other species. So cowbirds, cuckoos, they sneak in when mama bird's not on the nest. They drop an egg and they leave. Mama bird comes back. Oh, there's an extra egg. They sit on it. They incubate it. The parasite often hatches out first. And in the example we're looking at here, this cuckoo is, it's physically getting rid of the nest mates. So now it has no competition. Kill your siblings, you got all the food and all the resources that mom and dad and the parents can provide. So think about if people approach it this way. Think about it, you come home, there's an extra baby in your house, and that baby whacks your kids in the head and kills them. Well, in nature, the parent just keeps taking care of the strongest baby, even though it's not their own. There's a lot of instinctual reflex here from the parent. They don't recognize that big giant bird is not mine. They see that orange mouth peeping open and chirping and calling for food, and they're going to feed it. They don't worry about, you don't look like me. You're too big to be my baby. That's not something most animals in nature worry about. Okay, so some really cool examples of parasitism. How do those populations work? All right, commensalism. This is the hardest relationship to truly find and sort out. In commensalism, one species gains while there is no type of impact on the other species. There's no good, no bad on the other species. It's just simply, hey, I got something good. I didn't hurt you. I didn't help you, but I got a benefit. So the clownfish living in the anemone tentacles is often cited as a commensalistic relationship. You know, the fish gets a place to live, a place to hide, a place to have its babies. The anemone really doesn't get anything. If the clownfish left, the anemone's fine. If the clownfish is there, the anemone's fine. There's really no gain for the anemone, but there's a gain for the clownfish. Those are tough to establish and to find, because most of the time as we look at these relationships, we really figure out they're more a relationship of mutualism. In mutualism, both species gain. They both have a positive benefit. They both get something good out of this relationship. Now, the example with the image you're looking at is the acacia tree and the acacia ant. Can't see the ants, they're pretty darn small. But the ants, they live on the acacia tree. They set up a little home, give them some antenna. They have food from the tree. They live, actually these little thorns here are hollow. That's where the ants will reproduce. And there's these little, you can't see, there's a couple there, these little yellow buds, little yellow structures on the acacia plant. There's some more down here. That's actually little food packets that the ants eat. So the ants are loving it. Food, place to live, place to reproduce. Just like being at home, right? Got a great place to live. You get a definite benefit out of this. But what does a plant get? Well, the plant gets protection. The plant gets a gardener. A plant gets somebody that's going to defend it when predators try to eat the plant. Could be other insects, could be a rabbit, could be whatever. All of those ants come out of their homes, they swarm the predator, and they try to kill it or chase it off. If a new plant's growing next to the acacia, those things will go after it. The acacia ants living on this particular tree will attack and try to kill that predator, or they will attack and try to kill that other plant that is going to compete with their home. So there's a lot of benefit to both species. The challenge with mutualism is if you become too dependent and one leaves, the other one also dies, doesn't survive as well. Okay? All right, last type of beneficial relationship is called cleaning symbiosis. This is when one species acts as a cleaner while the other is cleaned. So the example here, and it's tough to see the little guy, that tiny little fish right there, that is known as a wrasse type of, or neon goby. They're a type of cleaner fish. They will clean parasites off the big fish. The big fish don't eat them. The little fish clean them. They're both happy, and they're both getting something good out of this. So think about the movie Finding Nemo. Jacques' role, his role here, was to be a cleaner. That was his job. That was his ecological niche in that movie. So all these relationships are present in communities with all the different species interacting together.